When Diego Maradona died, the world mourned a legend, no doubt. But for his family and for his entire home country, that grief, it pretty quickly turned into suspicion and then just raw outrage. You see, this isn't just a story about a hero's tragic end. It's a story of alleged neglect, a desperate search for accountability, and a question that just won't go away. And that's the question right there. That's what this is all about. Because for the people who loved him, his death wasn't just some sad, inevitable thing. They believe it was preventable. They believe a crime might have been committed. And look, to really get the scale of that anger, you have to understand the scale of the man. Diego Maradona, he wasn't just a soccer player. For millions of people, he was something close to a god. He burst onto the scene in '82, but 1986, oh man, that's when he became immortal. In one single game against England, he gave us the infamous hand of God, and then just minutes later, the goal of the century, this breathtaking run that just defined his genius. He basically single-handedly dragged Argentina to World Cup glory, and then he goes to this struggling Italian club, Napoli, and makes them champions. He gave hope to people who had none. And it wasn't just his fans who felt that way. Even his greatest rivals, like England's Gary Lineker, who was on the wrong end of that 1986 masterpiece, they all admit it. The guy was just on another planet. All right, so this timeline, this maps out that critical final month. He looked really frail at his 60th birthday party. A few days later, he has successful brain surgery. But then came this fateful decision. Instead of recovering in a proper medical clinic, he was moved to a rented house for home care. And just a few weeks later, he was gone. And what was this so-called home care? Well, his own daughters painted a pretty devastating picture. They called the house disgusting, a dark, ugly, and wild place. This wasn't a recovery center. It sounds like it was something else entirely. As you can imagine, the public pressure was mounting. So an official medical board of 20 experts was put together to investigate exactly how he died. And their conclusions, they sent absolute shockwaves through Argentina. The board's report was just absolutely damning. They found the care he got was inappropriate, deficient, and reckless. They concluded he didn't just die suddenly. He suffered a prolonged, painful agony for at least 12 hours. And here are the two most critical findings. His death was avoidable, and he wasn't in a mental state to be making any decisions for himself. That report gave prosecutors what they needed to level a really severe charge: homicide with eventual intent. Now, this isn't about a simple medical mistake. It's an Argentinian legal concept that basically means the accused knew their actions, or their lack of action, could foreseeably kill Maradona, but they just recklessly went ahead anyway. The stakes here could not be higher. If they're found guilty, the people accused are facing between 8 and 25 years in prison. This is a life-changing trial. So who are we talking about? 8 people are facing this charge, the very medical team that was supposed to be taking care of him. The list includes his personal doctor, Leopoldo Luque, his psychiatrist, his psychologist, and the coordinators and nurses who were running that home care. So after years of delays and legal fighting, it seemed like the moment of accountability had finally arrived. In March of 2025, the trial started, and a whole nation was holding its breath, just hoping for some answers. But this story, it was about to take another just unbelievable turn. Just as things were getting started, the whole trial was completely torpedoed by a scandal that was, well, it was as bizarre as it was damaging. And the source of this whole mess? It was the one person who's supposed to be the ultimate symbol of fairness in the courtroom, the presiding judge. Okay, you can't make this stuff up. It gets discovered that the judge is actively participating in a TV documentary about the trial that she is currently overseeing. I mean, you can imagine the outrage. In a really rare moment of unity, both the prosecution and the defense lawyers demanded the trial be thrown out. And the court agreed. They nullified everything. Every bit of testimony, all the progress, just gone. The judge was suspended, she eventually resigned, and now she's the one facing legal complaints. The fallout from this is just staggering. The whole process is right back at square one. All that progress, more than 40 witness testimonies, completely erased. They have to start from scratch selecting a new panel of judges. And a new trial date? There isn't one. Experts are saying they doubt anything can even start before 2026. For Maradona's family, justice has been delayed indefinitely. So this is where we're left. A national hero, a man who could beat the best defenders in the world, was allegedly abandoned by his own caregivers when he needed them most. Then, the search for truth gets corrupted from the inside by the very system designed to deliver it. It all begs one final massive question. After all these failures, first medical, then judicial, will the final chapter of Diego Maradone's story ever truly find justice?